So the barua came, my mother saw the letter, we were very happy. But we had not gone to the page, ile inaandikwa school fees. After going to school fees, akasema hapa, wacha kwanza to consult. So my two sisters had gone to another school called Jobe High School. It used to be a mixed school then. Nowadays it's a boys' school. And there was a principal called Mr. Buraya, who was a deputy there at Jobe. So because our family, we were a bit very not well off. I'm just avoiding to say we were poor. So my mother would go to that place, my sisters were schooling. Ile tu ya kuambia mwalimu, acha wasome kidogo, kuna pesa, kuna ng'ombe nauza, haijapata mtu ya kununua. Those two stories our parents give in school, so that we continue learning when we have these balances. So that deputy was transferred at the school neighboring our home, called St. Paul's. By then it was called Kiabugi Boys. So when my mother heard that the principal has been transferred to that school called Kiabugi, akaniambia kijana utaenda Kiabugi, kwa yule principal already anajua mashida zangu. So that is how I ended up now going to the school I went to. To cut the long story short, in my high school, and I can now say it because I don't think I can be reprimanded now, I used to be those guys who were doing business in high school. Because in my first Form 1, nilianza kushonea watu viatu. I was a cobbler. Kushona viatu literally. So, right from my first year, I mean Form 1, my father passed on when I was in Form 1. Being the older boy, I had to be like the father. So I nilikuwa nashona viatu to supplement my mother's school fees. Not necessarily to pay. To supplement ile ya kuambia mwalimu akoje nisome, because fees was never enough. So kashona viatu, nikifunga holiday, I used to go to a town. My home is near the school, but I used to go further, do a shopping, and I used to go home as a student with shopping. Naenda kwa madina shopping, nikiwa mwanafunzi wa high school. So I graduated into running the box kiosk, the one you buy biscuits and you sell around. Then I went further. Our school canteen was run then by clubs. Science club, in around this man. Drama club, the other man. The other club, the other man. CA, Catholic Action, this man. CU, the other man. So, nikaona nitaitia club zote, so that I maximize the time, and I ran for being an official, so that I ran this club almost continuously. So nikaitia science club, nikakuwa chairman. You can clearly see I'm not a comedian like Kemose. Nikaitia drama club. So nilikuwa mtu ya CU. Me, I'm a Protestant from ACK. I was not a very good boy in terms of discipline. So nikaona watu wa CU wananijua. Nikaona niingie kwenye wananijua vizuri, CA ndio nichaguliwe. So that I maximize the time of running the club. So that when I buy that bread, za kuuza, the officials used to also supplement. Because club didn't have enough money to buy enough stock. So we could supplement with ours, of course, to make more money for school fees. From there, kind of university. By the time when nilikuwa natoka secondary, even with all those biasharas, I still had a fees balance of 33,000. So I was called back to be a librarian. Nilikuwa nalipwa nusu, na nusu napewa sasa kama mshahara. So I worked there for 1 year plus, maybe 1 year, a few months, because by then, from high school to university, we could take 1 year and around 8 months to join. So I had enough time to go and work. Fortunately, by God's grace, I'm the only one who made it to university in that school that year. So, nikaenda KU. But before we get KU, you know, our place, and I'm talking to you guys, you know, there's no other speech. I'm already talking the speech. So the one who is grab something, especially you comrades, and especially you men, please. Leo niko na nyinyi. Men, when you leave high school and you come to university, you cannot continue calling your parents to send you money to buy unga to eat. That is how we were, and that is why I came to talk to you. I know you can't clap there, but I'll call the parents and tell them we agreed that they don't send money. What am I trying to say? When I left home and went to Nairobi to join KU, I left slightly earlier, went to industrial area, did some vibarua to get some money to pay my first semester fees, so that even when help delays, I'm sorted. So I joined campus, nikafanya pia nikaanza masomo hapo, tunaingiaga September. Sasa ni KU. Mwenye mnajua KU, you know KM.
Yes.
There is a ghetto called KM. It used to be a ghetto, but now it's an estate. KM around KU. I hope Dr. Nyokesa now you cannot report me back to KU. So when I joined KU, of course, there was no one to give you school fees. You sort yourself. You've been admitted to campus. Your parents took you up to Form 4. Shauriana. So I went, did some vibaruas, got some money, paid the first semester. So the help came. I cleared my first year's fee. It wasn't much then, because the whole help would pay the school fees and I had to kitu kidogo hapo. So I had two goals early on. Two goals. This time I was a librarian. I used to read a lot, and I had something in my mind. I was praying, by the way, that I want to get wealthy, and if possible, get some power. I don't know how, because the family I came from, those two things were very foreign. But I just had this ambition that I want the trajectory to change. And I knew for me to make money, I had to be in business. So even in campus, the Kaenda KM, as a first year, after paying the help, either pesa ilibaki, I went to KM, started a hotel, and I called it Vatican Cave. So, how it happened is that my help was not enough, because I had paid my school fees to supplement the Kibarua. So I went to a friend of mine called Wamwere. We were in the same year. Nikamkopa ile help yake. Ikakuwa now enlarged capital for my hotel. And one time, because that was around second semester in my first year, mnajua hii mwezi tuko sasa ya Feb. Our second semester was coming in Feb, because we were reporting school as first years in September. So September, October, November was first sem, and December. So we were reporting now in January in second semester. So this second semester is the one I borrowed Wamwere the money for his help and my help. Nikaunganisha na nikaambia Wamwere, even after kunikopesa pesa, kuna kitu utanisaidia. So I told Wamwere I was now setting up like a hotel. You know, si hotel ile mnafikiria, I mean a shanty ya mabati na viti ya kukalia ni ile kafomu. Kama mnaelewa kwenye mnakula nini lunch. So ni hiyo hotel kama hiyo sasa. So I used to do the painting myself. So I used to go paint, you know, kazi yenyewe I mean kujenga viti and everything. And I said I will not talk kizungu leo. Naongea na nini ile lugha mnaongea, because I came to communicate, not to give a lecture. So nakufanya painting hapo na niko na class. You know, it was many things. I combined many things that I go. I had a class that second semester. I vied to be a student leader the same semester, and I was starting a hotel the same semester. Those three things. So I used to paint, rangi na mwagika kwa t-shirt. On my way to class, I meet my classmates, and especially ladies. Please, ladies, give us a break. Then the ladies would ask me, hey, you know that accent. What's up? Yeah, that one now. What's up with the sijui rangi kwa t-shirt? Then nawaambia hapana, nimetoka kusupervise mchoko ya my father, inaendelea pahali hapa. Kumbe it was my hotel. So to cut the long story short, took off February second semester, ka hotel nimeset up, kitu haina ni sufuria na utensils. So the same Wamwere, I told him nipeleke pale Gikomba somewhere. Wanauza sufuria. So we went to Nairobi city with Wamwere. And not to us, we were village boys. Completely. It's those guys who came to Nairobi. We actually knew Nairobi when we were reporting for university. So I told Wamwere nipeleke Gikomba, we bought sufurias. But Kufika Nairobi, we were wondering with Wamwene. Kwani hii Nairobi siku hizi iko na uniform? Because ladies we are in red, men we are in black and maybe a red tie. So tukaanza kuulizana na Wamwene, kwani siku hizi Nairobi iko na uniform? So we went to Gikoba. Sisi hatujui nini inaendelea. Tunanunua masufuria, tukawekelea. Tukachukua matatu mpaka town. Then Wamwene kufika town akaniambia, kabla tuende stage ya KU, tupite pahali inaitwa Rudhuri Avenue, there is a lady, his girlfriend, we go say hi to her. I first wonder, yani jamaa kuna girlfriend? For me that was already too much. I mean high class, we got a girlfriend from Askia. So we went with Wamwene. So the girl was, alikuwa anauza phone accessories. So tuko na masufuria yetu. How are you? Nikaona msichana anajivalia hajui Wamwene. Because unajua vile saa ingine tuna beat kama comrades. Unajaribu kumatch kuo, they don't match. Kiatu umepiga iko na vumbi everywhere. So the girl looked, you know the way you talk to a person, they really don't want to engage you. So ikakuwa hapo kukorogana kidogo hivyo, tukamalizana tukaenda. So when we went back to KU, the girl later told Wamwene, wewe, you always tell me you are a university student studying economics. Economics gani hiyo mnasoma na sufuria? Wamwene was dumped. We later came to realize, this day we thought Nairobi iko na uniform was actually Valentine's Day. Instead of Wamwene taking flowers, he went to take sufuria. So the same year, I applied to be a student leader, a congress person. I didn't make it. So the wrong holiday, I decided I was not going to Sharks. So the same uncle gave me a house somewhere in Langata. And I went around, I got an internship, an unpaid internship in the Ministry of Trade. So, nikiwa hiyo internship nikaona, since I didn't have fare, I didn't have lunch, I decided to go to my former MP called Kelly Kariuki. To go, nimwambie mimi ni kiongozi ya youth. So that nikimwambia mimi ni kiongozi ya youth, ajue vile atafanya sasa kwa kiongozi. So I went there carrying a CV one day. Unajua kiatu inaitwa Sahara? Sahara ni ile kiatu hiyo Sahara. Iko na sole ya whitish, lakini kiatu yenyewe ni black ama brown. So nikajua ni kumatch hiyo siku naenda kwa mheshimiwa. We were village boys to give us. So nikavaa a black trouser and to match well nikavaa na of course belt was one, so the same belt black and then a black shirt. So I thought that is matching. And of course, like comrades, we always carry envelopes with a CV inside. So I went. I was not going to look for a job. I was going. Nipewa appointment na mheshimiwa. Nikiingia nimwambia mimi ukitaka kura ya watu yote ya university, mheshimiwa niko hapa. So I went, and fortunately he was in a meeting. So I didn't, the secretary akaniangalia, and because I had an envelope, the secretary told me, you can leave your CV here. Kama ni kazi unatafuta, nitapea mheshimiwa. Me, I wasn't going there to look for a job. But because amesema, nikaacha CV. So what a CV after 2 days, I get a call. How are you, young man? Yes, sir. My name is Honorable Kenya Kariuki. Yes, sir. You came here to request for a job? Of course, yes. When can you come? Now. So I went. So kwenda akaniuliza, kijana unaitwa nani nini, nikamweleza maneno yote. By the time una run to be a student leader, you already a kamjuaji somehow. So hiyo kaujuaji ilinisaidia. Nikaenda, nikamwambia nini hapo. Then akaniuliza, when did you start working? Today, mheshimiwa. So alinipea kazi nikaanza hiyo siku. In my long vacation now. In a long vacation was I think how many months. So I worked vile tulifungua KU. Now I started now working and going to school. Of course I could time gari ya Githurai ile ya mapema so that I pay less fare, and of course ya narudi usiku. Now because I was going to work very early. I was not going to work very early because of work. I was going very early because I wanted to cut fare. You know, very early off you pay less fare. then I could wait in the office very late, so that I also pay less fare. That in the company was construed as being a very hardworking young man. So that December, I was given the present of the employee of the year. As a first year going out, I was already a second year. So second year I was elected and I became the academic secretary in KU. And maisha ikaendelea. Now, my graduation came. You know, my mother is very prayerful. Like most of your parents, they pray for you. So I called them. And by the way, the entire time I was in KU, only my sister came to visit once. And when she came to visit, there is a friend of mine called Jemo. We actually talked today as I came. We have been friends since then. So my sister was then working, came to visit us. I'm doing some attachments. So my sister came visiting sometime. I was in a hostel called Kilimabo. And she brought us half kg of meat with Jemo. Nyama, nusu kilogram. Now tukaona hii hesabu ya pesa, nyama ni pesa ngapi? Na sukuma ni pesa ngapi? Tuliuza hiyo nyama. Because we think about now, hii nyama ni sukuma ya pilipili. Hii nyama tukauza. So let me go back to the graduation. That one I had forgotten. So graduation came. When graduation came, my mother came with, of course, the friends. And it's the joy of every parent. My son works with Barclays Bank. My son works with Equity Bank. My son works with Safaricom. You know our parents wanapenda hiyo maneno. So mimi walikuja graduation. I hosted them in a place called KUCC. It is within KU for lunch. Just a few. Then when my time came to speak, I told my mother, I know you are very prayerful, my mother. Please pray for me not to get a job. That is it. Please pray for me not to get a job. Why? Yes, I was struggling, but I had done my math. If I get a job, I'll never be wealthy. So nikasema wacha ningangane. Me, I want to be a business person. I want to be an entrepreneur. So my mother was very heartbroken. Aliniambia hivyo baadaye. She came with friends so that I tell them I want to be working in one bank and wherever other place. I'm here telling them I don't want a job. So I started my businesses there, and up to now, since I graduated, kazi ya kuuliza interview, I have never looked for a job. Actually, that is the message that brought me here. It is not this other view. The message that brought me here is for you comrades. We have aspirations, we have dreams. Part of the dreams we have, and we will demonstrate now, in a show of hand. Can somebody tell me in the next 7 years, after you've graduated, the kind of car you want to be driving? Just with that. Kuja bro. Those who are big, hakuna pesa this time. The estate, those of you who will go to Nairobi, let's use Nairobi because you know Nairobi better. We use Nairobi as the base. The estate in Nairobi, you won't be living. Come here, my brother. Yes. You with the new shirt. Your shirt is you. Yeah, you. Now, I want us to demonstrate in a few minutes. I want to talk in the next 10 minutes. Is it regarding maswali so that we proceed? And okay, somebody has to do math for us. You have a phone here. You look like you have a smartphone. Then come here. Yani, hapa kapu, students who got a smartphone, iko kama ya vice chancellor. So, which kind of vehicle in the next 7 years? How old are you now? Use the mic.
I'm 22 right now.
So you'll be, let's say that in the next 8 years, what kind of vehicle do you want to be driving?
Mercedes G-Wagon.
Sasa hiyo hata kimoja yana unataka kubai. Tell me right here, my comrade. Tell me to right there. Can you estimate how much it costs? Somebody to estimate how much that kind of... Which vehicle do you want to be driving?
Lexus.
Lexus ile 5. Hey, sasa yeye. Sasa wata tu hii hata sijui. So hata tutumie hii. Lexus yenye ni mzee imetumiwa huko Majuu. Ni kama pesa ngapi? Anyone with an idea?
24 million.
It's no Lexus of 4 million.
24 million.
We are talking about 15 million. So write 15 million. But for simplicity, just like 10. Only 10 million. Just 10. My brother, which estate ukitaka kukaa Nairobi by the time you are that two there about?
By the time I'm 32, napenda kwa Karen.
Karen, very good. Karen, a plot of land a half. You can't divide land more than a half acre in Karen. And the least you get, that half. The least. Anyone has an idea?
150 million. 150 million.
Let's say, plot peke yake, that's a million. Look at that. Aya. Which holiday destination would you want to be going unaenda huko by the time you are that? Barbados. Very good. Now, let's use the vehicle and the land first. How much money is that, my brother? 30 plus 10. How much is that? 40. Let's say you don't even go to Lexus. Let's come to 5 million only. Utaanza Brado mzee kabisa. 5 million. And let's assume this plot, kabla upite Karen, pitia bahari ingine. Yenye ploti sio 30, ploti tuseme ni 15. Hiyo, weka 15. So we have 20 million. You need 20 million shillings. By the time you are graduating this, how old are you going to be? You'll be graduating at 23. Let's assume you get a job at 24. And you know that it does get a job, you get a good job. Paying 150,000. We are assuming umetoka hapa ukawanywa branch manager kwa bank. That's the assumption we are making, which is also not a very good assumption to make, because you know how possible or impossible it is. Now, 25 million. 25 million. This guy is 25. I'll be training sometimes so that you know I went to school. So 25, and you are at 25, and you want to raise 25 million by the time you are 32. Because by 32, you want to be having a plot and a caprando. So this 24 million, let's assume umepata kazi immediate as a fresh graduate of 150,000. Meaning take home is around 150,000. Take home ni kusema tax tumeondoa, NSSF na ile maneno mengine. So 120,000, do for me the math, my brother. 120,000 per month. How much is that in a year? Please tell me there. Tell me somebody. Somebody have an idea. 1.44 M.
Yes.
Per what?
Per year.
Per year.
Yeah.
Now, divide that 25 million, divide by 1.44.
We divide 18 years.
That's 25 million we had there.
18 years.
Divide now by 1.44. How long is it? 18 years. So my brother, please add 25 plus 18. Please add.
43 years.
So my brother, you'll be 43 by the time you already have gotten a high-paying job. You'll be 43 by the time you have a Prado and a plot not in Karen as you go to Karen. And that plot will not be having a house. So you'll be sleeping in that Prado in your plot. So, gentlemen, if you forget any other day, that is what I came here for. Kenya is not going to develop by us as people who come here to learn. Only learning because we want to work in companies that we are not even sure who started them. We have come here to Kafu to study because we want to be business creators, entrepreneurs, and wealthy people. And the feature about business is that you can do business in any sector. Those who are in IT, you can do business in IT. Those who are in medical, you can do business within the same field. Those who are in architecture, you can do architecture within your field as a business person. So I came here to tell you that you must now stop lamenting there are no jobs. The reason why your parents brought you here and the school administration is putting up the kind of resources they are putting up is because they want to model you to be a person who can be wealthy. And the person who can be wealthy in the next 7 years will not be wealthy by looking for a job. It is by employing others. Now, I read a lot. And I want to interest you in reading a magazine called Forbes. You can read it actually online. Forbes. Every year they put up a list of billionaires, the people who are the wealthiest in the world. This year the richest they put is called Bernard, he's a French man in cosmetics. It's a company called Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. He has many brands of luxury goods. He's the richest person. Number 2 is called Elon Musk. He's actually a South African born American. You know Tesla Motors. That is the mind. Within that list, not in that order, of course there is the Facebook founder, there is the Oracle founder, there is the other people there. If you put the entire list up to 1,000, all those people are people who create wealth out of entrepreneurship. I don't need to buttress that point. I just need you to know that I came to challenge you that for you to live the kind of life you are aspiring, you will not live that life while still aiming to graduate and go look for a job in another person's company. What am I challenging you to do so that I finish? And these are my experiences, the things I have seen and practiced. Beyond the school that you come here to study, the school, academics, something I have seen that is much more important is something called emotional intelligence. You study here, get degrees, and now allow me to speak even for job seekers, because maybe not all of us will also use the other first topic that I have. When you all come to CAFU, you get first class, you get second upper, and to enrich you have a CPA. There is another guy in KU have the same. Another one in UON, they have the same. You come to an interview panel. By the time you are called for an interview, you are already qualified paper-wise. In regards to what can be read about you, you are already qualified by the time you are called for an interview. But then when you go to that interview, my brother, they want to hire 3 people, you get yourself there as 120. Then which is this criteria that will be used from the 120 to determine that you are the best? Yet all the people there are qualified by virtue of being called for an interview. As you come through CAFU, please let your papers be commensurate to the person you end up becoming. Sometimes you see a person with very beautiful papers, but when you look at the people themselves, they do not match what they place on the table. Emotional intelligence, I am looking at it widely. Develop yourself as a person. And when you develop yourself as a person, have in mind what you want to become. What do you want to become, so that then, as you come through CAFU, you are modeling yourself towards whatever you are aiming. If you want to be a professor, one of the issues around emotional intelligence and making yourself a better person is number 1, element of having a mentor. I'm combining that mentorship and emotional intelligence so that I don't spend much time. When you model yourself around this professor, how do they behave? How are they at my age? What are the requisites that are required for being this kind of a professor? If you want to be a news anchor, if you want to be a politician, if you want to be a doctor, how do they carry themselves? Identify a few you can model yourself around. That is mentorship. Many people in the world, including myself, you step on the shoulders of giants. Then I cut the long story short. That former MP of ours, Kenya Karaoke, ended up becoming my mentor. I ended up learning about business through him and learning about politics through him. Our current governor, Nyoro has been my friend even before I joined politics. I'm just trying to show you there is something that happens when you associate with people. You end up becoming more or less like them. That is one about mentorship. The other side of emotional intelligence. As you model yourself out there, you can't model yourself if you don't know yourself. You need to call yourself for an ATM, my friend, and continuously call yourself for a personal ATM with notes, a secretary, a chairman, all rounded up in one, you yourself. Take notes, who am I? What are my strengths as a person? You write them down, don't assume. Then you write, what are my weaknesses? For example, you want to become a politician. A group discussion, you cannot lead of 5 people. Start there. Start by realizing, I can't actually face 10 people and speak before them. What do? I'll start by volunteering in CU. Number 1, I start by reading. Something matagazo kwa CU, nasoma kitu written. I graduate to reading and thinking. Later on, I graduated to actually speaking without reading something. You develop now that weakness into becoming your strength. What are the opportunities you have? You write them down. What are the threats you have? You write them down. On that issue also, I want you to know one thing. Beyond the akili, what we come here to study, something else that is very far-reaching into being who you end up becoming is your emotions. Sometimes our emotions overwhelm even our brain. So that then we cannot harness our emotions. You don't know how to carry yourself. You don't know what to say where. Start by knowing yourself. Develop yourself gradually. By knowing, maybe I'm very hot-tempered. And because I am not cast on stone, that I have to remain this way, then what can I do to make myself better in that regard? So that then you learn your emotions, understand yourself, then understand the other people you deal with. So that by the time you are going for an interview, you know yourself too well. You know how to conduct yourself around different environments too well, and therefore, virtually what reflects on the papers, you actually supersede them when you appear in person. I have cut a very long topic into very few sentences. But I want you to go because you have phones, you have internet. I want you to develop yourself around emotional intelligence. Develop yourself around other things that you don't study in classroom. So that holistically, you come out of this place careful, being a person who has been through a factory, you are coming out there as a finished product, not as a raw product with a label, which is your degree. That degree certificate must not be a label placed upon you, your forehead. You have to be that person who is appearing there, or even a better person. Where is capital? Capital you go out. The biggest capital you have as a business person is actually the idea you have. You have heard about something called Silicon Valley in the US. Silicon Valley was born out of an idea as a policy called STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, which was a policy in the US. The proximity between Silicon Valley and Stanford University is because the people who are going mostly at the scholarships in Stanford were dropping off, and they formed now the Silicon Valley. There is another connection between Silicon Valley and something called Wall Street. You must have heard something called private equity. Another one called venture capital. These are people who actually just need a person with a bright idea to provide solutions. They have enough money to give you idea. And they don't ask you for money as a debt, or they don't give you the money as a debt. You give them a slight proportion of your idea in terms of a business, what is called equity. They come with their money, then you actualize that idea to become a business. So the point I'm trying to drive home, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, when they were starting PayPal, the Twitter people, they didn't have money when they were starting these companies. They had bright ideas. Those bright ideas attract the now people with money who want a bright person like the one going through capital today. And therefore, capital, before you ask about money, the real capital is the idea. I think time is up. So the other topic that was listed here, I'll come another day to present.